Welcome to Convo Fango. Today, we are joined by the Violent Night Riders. We are getting into the holiday spirit with Josh Miller and Patrick Casey. Woo!
Hello,
Hey,
good to be
hey.
here.
I
Hello,
should have had some
Fangoria.
bells to jingle. That's on me. I was
Gotta add
ill
them in
prepared.
post.
Yeah. Okay, ready? Ding, ding, ding. Thanks, Jason. All right. Listen, I know this is not a horror movie. I can hear people yelling at me already. It's a fucking genre movie. It's got a ton of gore. It's one of my favorite movies of the year. And I just really wanted to talk to you guys about it. And I know our audience is into it. So putting that out there.
I think it can work for the Fangoria part of
There we
the
go.
title.
There we go.
Although
we
it's an
have
action movie, but it does have some horror movie DNA. It's just that in this case, the slasher is the hero, you know?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I think we would both say it is not a horror movie, but I realized we also welcome the future debate since our movie is very clearly inspired by Die Hard, which has had its, is it a Christmas movie debate for decades? So I hope 20 years from now, people online are arguing whether or not Violent Night is a horror movie.
It's gonna happen. If Twitter still exists in 20 years, that's gonna happen.
Yeah, Twitter still exists in 20 minutes. I keep opening it up, expecting it to just be gone.
Is it still here? Refreshed? Yes, it's still there. So as you guys are writing this, who were you picturing in the Santa role? Because David Harbour is so perfect in this. Like, I'm just wondering, like, were you picturing like a Bruce Willis as you're writing, or who did you have in mind?
We were always picturing David Harbour specifically. We always picture a cast in our mind, but it's not. I always explain to people, it's not like who we would necessarily cast if we were given the options. It's more just so we're imagining the same type.
Yeah, sometimes we'll be imagining an actor who's dead.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's just so that we're seeing the movie the same way as each other. But David Harbour was who we picked for Santa, so we had him in our minds the entire time, and then we really got him.
Yeah, so that's been very surreal. Yeah, as Pat said, normally it's like someone who's dead or like an actor who's maybe still working, but a version of them from like 40 years ago often. So
like Michael Caine circa 1977, you know?
Okay.
Time machine casting, one might say.
So you guys go real logistical with it when you're there.
David Harbour made the time machine.
Amazing. When did you start writing this? Because I'm wondering, he was already doing Stranger Things, I assume, when you were writing this and you're picturing him.
Well, it's a very old idea of ours, but it was an idea we never even really entertained actually doing up until the winter of 2020 when Sonic 1 was coming out. And like the whole process of mentioning it to our agents, to pitching it to Universal, buying it, to us starting writing it was like 2 months. It was like the most compressed timeline we'll possibly ever have. So in that sense, we had very little time to think about leading up to writing the script.
Damn.
Yeah, wait, what was the original question here? Oh, how long? No. Yeah, so it was like, we started writing it. We basically sold the pitch like the week Sonic 1 came out.
Which was mid-February 2020.
So then they did the contract negotiations, and then basically we started writing it like the week before, like, Rudy Gobert gave everyone in the NBA COVID and society shut down. So it was like this apocalyptic scenario was happening in the air. But we were like, we don't have time to think about the end of the world. Like, we owe this script. We got to just sit down and type all day. And that's what we did.
Yeah, because everyone thought there still might be a WGA writer's strike on like May 1st or 5th. I can't remember the exact date. So it was just kind of like, can you have the script done before then? And we were like,
candy canes raining down, iced coffee, hot coffee, just
but we did it.
You did it.
And then the strike didn't happen, so it didn't matter. But the script was done.
And the world didn't end. We lasted long enough to see it, at least.
Exactly. Yes.
So that's cool.
The world was trying to stay alive just for Violent Night.
The day you turn in the script, and then the world just and then fades black.
We were worried. I was like, "Are there going to be movies ever again?" I hope so. We just wrote one,
Like, how long will it be before people are allowed back in the theaters? That definitely was an ongoing concern. And this of anything we've ever written was designed to be a scene in the theater with an audience experience. Everyone applauding for Santa's many maimings.
Yeah, big group gasps and laughs and cheers.
This is a very much
Scream.
like a welcome back to the theater kind of movie. I would have been so sad if I watched this one at home. Like it would have just been me screaming and my dog being like, "The fuck?" Like,
Yeah.
which is usually how I watch movies. So it was nice to have like everyone else screaming and I'm like, and we're all doing that to each other, right? Like,
I mean,
I don't know you, but that was
theaters.
cool.
It's not so much about seeing it on the big screen because now we all have giant TVs at home.
Mhm.
Like what makes the theater experience so great is like being part of the crowd and like getting the shared human experience, you know?
Yes, when you're with the right audience.
Yeah.
I've also been to screenings where I was like, nobody? Okay.
Yeah, an
just-
audience
just me.
can ruin it as well.
Yeah. I'm like, my soul is crying inside, but I will sit here and hold my excitement to myself. What was the pitch exactly? Like, I'm very curious what you're like. What's your hook on this?
I mean, again, probably more than anything we've ever had, this had like a classic 1980s, like one sentence elevator pitch. Like you just happened to find the president of the studio in the bathroom and you were like leaned over and you're like, Die Hard with Santa.
Okay. And they're like, son of a bitch, I'm in. Like, I feel like that. I kind of just imagined that way.
I
Yeah.
mean, that was what made it so good is like, in it, to a certain degree, you were either in after that one sentence or you weren't. Like clearly you needed more details, but if that one sentence didn't intrigue you,
Yeah,
you
I mean,
probably
it was given the one sentence and then a little look of confusion, and we were like, but he's not a guy dressed as Santa. He's
Real Santa.
Real Santa.
And he looks like Santa. He's Santa. You know, we really had to like really nail that down and then get into some of the details.
How
of the
is he
story.
dressed? Like Santa. The Santa you're picturing in your head is essentially what he looks like.
I didn't realize how important that one factoid would be because I already know what the movie is. But as you're pitching it, it's like, wait, like it's like Bruce Willis dressed as Santa. No, it's actual Santa Claus, and he's just going nuts.
Yeah,
on
and I mean, and the idea of like, even if they're like, okay, so he's real Santa, but like he's pretending, like, you know, he's walking around talking to people dressed normal, and it's like, nope, dressed like Santa Claus.
He's just Santa.
But then kind of giving some of the gags for the movie, like specifically stabbing somebody with a candy cane.
That was part of the original pitch.
And like sewing up his wounds with like Christmas stuff. Like that was, you know, just,
all of that stuff was so good. Like I'm like, that's the stuff where I'm like screaming and clapping, and it's just like that 80s action montage. You're like, oh, Santa's fucked up, and we get his like Viking backstory, but like the wrapping paper and everything is very Christmas centric. Like that's it. It's all Christmas.
It's like, what would Rambo do at this point in the movie? That's the
it's a very Rambo
what's
Christmas.
the Christmas version of it? Exactly.
Yeah.
that was the whole movie. I mean, it just like it was just a very strong overriding concept, so it's like everything was just like trying to fit everything into that.
Yeah, that's what makes it so freaking fun though. But then there's like two ways this could have gone, where it's like very cheesy and you're like, oh, okay, that's or it's just like you're just like, yes, more of that. And it very much landed in that camp. And not just for me, I wasn't like the only weirdo this time. It was like everyone in the theater was like, oh my god, like it was just like a party the whole way through.
That's what we like to hear.
Yeah, you guys have gotten to watch it with audiences at this point, right?
Several times, which has been great.
Is it just so fun? Do you get that reaction? Like, what's this response been like?
Yeah, I mean, we've yet to have like a bad audience. It's more just like a scale of how insane. Because the first, we went to a test screening, and then we saw, I guess what the world premiere was at New York Comic-Con.
Which was a giant crowd of like 4,000 people.
Oh
all wearing Santa hats.
Yes, nice.
So that was pretty bizarre.
But the responses there were great. Yeah, and then we like the other best one we had was at the Aero Theater with Beyond Fest, which was a Beyond Fest crowd.
Here in LA, yeah.
Like they were crazy into it.
And they're always insane. That's what I was describing. The other filmmakers who like had not been to a Beyond Fest screening, they were just kind of like, that was crazy. That was like a rock concert. And it's like, yeah, it's like a weird crowd where it's like you're seeing a movie that's 20 years old and everybody has it memorized and just applauds at everything that happens. But these people are all seeing it for the first time.
That's the audience that you want to premiere with. Like, I'm like,
for sure.
If anyone ever makes a movie and ever, try to get it in Beyond Fest.
If anything, it's misleading because then you see it with like a normal crowd and you're like, do they hate it? I can't tell. Why aren't they applauding? They're
only cheering for half the movie.
Yeah.
What went wrong?
People were pissing their pants and clawing their skin off over here. I got a chuckle over here. What's wrong with you people?
Son of a bitch.
If you're gonna have the guts to call a movie Violent Night, it better be pretty fucking violent. And this absolutely delivers. It's like over the top violence, but make it Christmas. Like you said, the candy cane impaled, and just the juxtaposition. I'm really big on kill songs. So the juxtaposition of like
Yeah, we got some
Christmas
good
pop and
kill
just
songs.
murders just happening and just disgusting shit. And I was like, this is everything that I want in a movie.
That was why we were really excited when they offered it to Tommy Wirkola, just given his track record of Dead Snow and Hansel and Gretel. We always figured with 87 North behind it would for sure have awesome fight scenes. And obviously like the John Wick movies and stuff get like pretty violent, but we did design it in the same way you would a horror movie. So I guess you can see the confusion for people that it wasn't just that Santa gets into a big fight. We wanted to have the almost kind of Jason Voorhees level, like high concept kills, where again, you are supposed to kind of applaud at the end of each like fight scene.
So we were definitely delighted when Tommy came on board to get a director who shared the vision and has that demented sense of humor.
Yeah, it's like, oh, he's gonna get it.
Yeah.
And if anything, left to his own devices, like he'll help keep kind of ratcheting it up.
Yeah. Were all of those kills in the original script? And is there anything that you had to cut? Like, was there anything that was too much?
We had one. It's so funny, like what is determined to be too much for people? Because like for the most part, they pushed us forward on everything, which was great. We were worried they would make us pull back. And I don't even remember whose note it was. And I don't want to, even if I did, I wouldn't throw them under the bus. But there's like a snowblower kill. Tommy made it a snowblower, which we're like, duh, it's a snow movie. In our script, it was a wood chipper. So we're glad that's all still in the movie. But we had it where Santa was moving it around and spraying people with the gore.
Yeah,
like
and then the dudes were like
them.
slipping in it and falling over and stuff. But like that apparently was a bridge too far.
They're like, that was the gross. One thing. We're like, what? That of all like anything that seems sort of innocently goofy compared to some of the other stuff.
Some of the impalings and stuff. Yeah, that's also very like Dead Alive with the lawnmower spraying out the gore on everyone. Like that's what I'm picturing, but make it a snowblower.
Yeah, it was funny though because we had so many very specific kills, and for the most part, the movie stayed extremely similar to our initial draft, like structurally. But a lot of stuff would kind of get moved from this. We'll take it from this scene and put it in this other scene, and we had like two big fights that were combined into one big fight and that kind of thing. And like, obviously no spoilers, but kind of the big final kill and the final face off, again, no hints, that the whole ending of the movie was different. So that kill actually came like randomly in the middle of the movie. And our producer and Tommy always like loved it so much that they were kind of like, that should be the final kill. So when the whole ending got, again, it's hard to talk about without spoilers, but when the ending got reworked, it was a perfect opportunity of like, oh, let's make that the like final kill against the villain.
That was an amazing kill. That was one where I was like, what?
Well, you gotta do something to top all the other kills that you've already seen. So
which is hard because it's just like ramping up the whole time where you're just like, oh my God. And then you have that whole montage of just like stuff on stuff on stuff happening and everyone's just losing their minds. And then that final kill, I'm like, what do you do? Where do we go from here? And I was like, oh my God.
That's a Fangoria worthy kill. I
think. Absolutely. I'm like, I don't know. I'm going to put this on my favorite kills of the year list for sure.
That kill has definitely gotten great response from the crowds we've seen it with.
I'm just like, do you guys have like a day where you do like, let's do like a kill workshop? What are some weird ways we could kill people in Christmas ways? Or do you just get to it when you get to that part in the script?
A little bit of both. I feel like we early on had like we'll just have like a big Google Docs full of ideas, and I feel like we had a section where we were just trying to think of like, what are different Christmas ornaments and decorations.
Yeah, we definitely just kind of had a brainstorming list of just Christmas stuff with then bullet points underneath of like, how could you kill someone with that thing, So we had a list to look to as we were writing the actual scenes.
Because there was a part of our... Refer to the document for the Christmas kill. Hold on one second.
Because that was a part of the pitch where we would kind of just rattle off things like the candy cane or the idea that he's using like tinsel and wrapping around his fists like he's making a, Garrett?
Sure.
Garrett, I think.
Garrett.
Yeah. A road?
You know, a choking device.
Yeah, a choking device. I'm gonna Google it after this, and I'm just gonna like dub it over me right
There
now.
we go. Yeah.
The proper pronunciation.
Make us sound smart.
Yeah. Do you guys have a favorite kill in this, or do you not want to say? Do you want to not do spoilery?
I mean, I do love our final kill because
Okay.
it's both kind of the most perfectly Christmassy and it feels, yeah, like Pat said, you really have built up to it.
Yeah.
I mean, the candy cane is Pat was initially because that was such a part of our pitch. It's just always it's fun to see something that's in your pitch make it all the way not only to the movie, but the fact that it was in all the trailers.
Yeah, it's like basically the key element of all the advertising. But I'll also throw in the like ice skate sequence, and particularly the end of that ice skate sequence is so preposterous. It just makes me laugh every time.
I want to try that, not necessarily on somebody. I just want to try like flinging ice skates around and see how it goes. Cut to me and I look like Edward Scissorhands. I just have gashes all over my
Don't
face.
try this at home,
What
kids.
the hell happened to you? Well, you know that ice skate scene. So before we go, I do want to mention for people that are in LA or visiting LA, Friday Night Frights. Tell us a little bit about that.
It is a show I've been doing here in LA. I think January will be the 12th anniversary. I got to do the math. But you know, it's been varying over time. I used to do it every other week. Now it's more once a month. I've been on a little bit of hiatus just since Pat and I have been extremely busy. Not like it takes a lot of work to pick a movie and show it, but sometimes it's nice to have just as few distractions as possible. But 2023, you're going to be getting back to that. We can also say, I don't know, when is this going to go up?
I actually am not sure. Hopefully soon, but I also, our editor, I am like, here's a million videos to edit, please.
Okay, well, yeah. People, you know, who care about seeing horror movies year round in LA should check out Friday Night Frights. But I was going to say, with our first movie, Hey Stop Stabbing Me, is playing at the Alamo Draft House, not part of Friday Night Frights, but just for people in LA to come see it. But that's December 14th, so it might already.
Yeah,
I was going to ask you.
Movie starring us, but extremely young.
Yeah, we made it when we were 20.
Thinner.
Made it when we were 20, and it was the first movie we had that ever got distributed to the public. And in a roundabout way, led to like all the cool stuff in our career. But Severin just put it out a 20th anniversary Blu-ray. So that, regardless of when it goes up, people can still
chock full of bonus features, including an entire second feature that's basically just as good as
Sledgehammers at Dawn. Speaking of Violent Night.
Oh, Josh, you should hype your pod as well.
Oh yeah, people should check out my podcast, which is also technically on hiatus at the moment, but we'll also be coming back. Best Movies Never Made, which I do with my buddy Steven Scarlatta, who made the great documentary Jodorowsky's Dune, about a famously unmade movie in the 70s. And that's the shows. Every episode's a different almost made movie or almost made version of a movie.
Nice. We love it. I was going to ask you about your Alamo screening with like the little asterisk of, I don't know when this is going to air, but mention that just in case.
Yeah, people can still buy Hey Stop Stab Me.
It. What did you guys shoot that on?
Mini DV.
Mini DV, and now we got a Blu-ray release, baby.
Yep.
It's been like digitally up-res.
Yeah, they
somehow.
had to. It was like it was so low. It was so lo-fi, the mini DV format, which is funny because that felt so like cutting edge when they first debuted it in the late 90s.
At the time, that felt like I'm fucking basically Steven Spielberg level equipment here. This is like watch out world. Like that was for sure a big thing. My first mini DV camera, because I used to just steal my parents' like VHS like C little thing, and then I was like, oh, mini DV, what? Like
it was a huge step up. For
like, we're living in the future, and then all of a sudden, like all cameras went, you know, widescreen HD, and our camera were just like, ah.
And then I was like to a point where like, how do I get these tapes into my computer? Even like,
well, I mean, that was a whole thing when Severin was doing the Blu-ray, which is like, how do we get to all this old footage? Had to find people who still had mini DV decks and
old versions of Final Cut and such.
Oh my god!
To access our old editing files.
Okay, I kind of love that. I need like a featurette on that. On the Blu-ray of just getting this shit to Blu-ray, the process.
Yeah, fortunately, I had one friend who still, he kept an old computer just because it still had Final Cut Pro 9 on it. For any of the editing nerds out there, I'm sure they know that when it switched to Final Cut Pro 10 or X, everyone hated the program and just moved over to Adobe Premiere
Yeah. I love
or
that.
Avid or whatever the professionals use.
Yes,
But
whatever. The professional things, you know.
Mhm.
All right. Thank you guys so much. Do you want to share
Thank
anything
you.
else before we head out?
no, I think we're good.
Yeah,
No,
good
we're
to
good.
go.
See Violent
All right.
Night again.
See
Yeah.
Violent
She's
Night
already
again.
seen it.
I have already seen it, of course, and I'm obsessed with it, as I said. So I'm trying to take my family to go see it this week. It's a family, it's a good
Perfect family movie.
holiday cheer for all. You know, I'll wear this to the show as
Yeah.
well.
We've been reliably told that everyone's dad loves this movie.
Right. Oh, my dad is gonna love this shit. My dad's gonna love it. My nephew's gonna love it. My mom thinks that she's not gonna like it. She's not
But
like a
she
horror or
will.
gore person, but she's gonna lose her mind. She's gonna be stoked on it. She's gonna hit me for every kill as if I made the fucking movie. She'll punch me in the arm, but then be like, "Ah," and she's gonna love it.
Perfect.
All right. Thank you guys so much.
All right,
I'm gonna go
thank
see
you.
Violent Night in the
Thanks for having us.
theaters. All right.
Woo!
Woo! Happy holidays.